Hey everybody, how you doing? And welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Data. So today we're going to be talking to Matt, who's from CDL, and we're going to be talking about how CDL handles security and reliability of their GenAI workloads with Amazon Bedrock. So it's going to be quite an interesting show. And Matt's a data architect as well, so very data focused what we're going to be talking about. Just before we get started, so I'm Tony Mullen, one of your regular show hosts. So I'm a database guy, so love everything data. So this is right up my street, talking about this sort of topic. I'm going to let Matt introduce himself now. Matt, if you could just introduce yourself.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Matt Horton. Like Tony says, I'm an architect working at an insurtech called CDL here in the UK. Basically, we use data and AI to build digital insurance journeys.
And Matt's not new to the show as well. Matt, you might have seen him on before. I think we were just talking at the backstage then. So this is our third season, and Matt's been on each season, which is awesome. So big community member as well, aren't you, Matt? We were talking about how you were part of the community builders. It'd be good if you could share a little bit about that, because I see you a lot on.
Yeah, I try to give back to the community. So I take a lot from like the AWS community and all the technical communities that I'm a member of. So I'd like to give a little bit back. So yeah, I'm a member of the AWS community builders. I'm also an AWS ambassador. So community builders is all about people who are passionate about what they do and like to share that with the rest of the community. So I've been really fortunate to be part of that for 6 years. I get to do things like come on the Let's Talk About Data show, but I get to present at different conferences and summits around the world, do different webinars. So like I've been to reInvent. I think I've spoken there every year since 2021. This year I went to the AWS Summit in Washington. The year before that I was at the New York Summit talking. So it's really great to give a little bit back. As you could probably tell, I'm a bit of a data nerd, and I actually like what I do for a living. So being able to talk about it's really cool with like-minded people.
Yeah, you're in the right place there, then.
We are, yeah.
We're definitely in the right place. The Geek Central for us, anyway. We like data, so we love talking about data. So that's brilliant. Do let us know where you're tuning in from as well. Pop it in the chat, and we'll get you up on the chat. Any questions you've got, stick them in there as well. I'm from Manchester, so it's cloudy and grey outside now, but we've had some amazing weather. So, yeah, Matt, you're not too far. I think you're just
I don't know why I'm looking out the window. The weather is identical to Tony's because I'm probably about 10 miles away from Tony. I'm in North Manchester in the UK.
Yeah. Lovely. And we've got a few people here. So Crazy DBA, one of our regulars, saying hi. Eerie Edits, hi everyone. How you doing? Oh, good to see Aaron. How you doing, mate? Good to see all your AWS community involvement, Matt. Yeah, brilliant. I echo that.
Thank you.
And hey, how you doing from Morocco? And LA, yeah, I mean, spoil LA. That's the way to do it. Frisco, nice. And is it Darry? Yeah, Darry.
Daryl, isn't it? Yeah, I recognize that that picture. I think Daryl's a community builder or a hero or something.
Nice, right? Love to. And like you'll talk about migrating 600 databases. Yeah,
that was the first one we did. Yeah, community builder. Yeah, that was right. Hi, Daryl.
Good to see you. Excellent. Right. Anyway, let's get cracking because we've got lots of really wicked demos to go throughout the show today. So we've got a bit of questions at the start to set the scene with some of this stuff, but we've got some really good demos. So I guess it's probably worth us just getting started. I mean, I guess with who our CDO is probably first. I think you introduced it a little bit at the start. And could you just tell us how you're using AI in CDL as well? I think that'd be good.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, we're a software company essentially, and our focus is on building software out for the insurance industry. So we're an insurtech. All our software is like really heavily powered by data and AI. So in terms of like how we're actually using AI at the moment, I think like a lot of software companies, GenAI has definitely become a standard part of building features in software. So we have like internal access to AI for all of our business functions. So I suppose basic use cases like being able to chat with AI to find information faster, rather than using like a traditional search of an intranet. Things like creating document summaries, recording meetings, capturing all your actions. I think most people would recognize that use case. Obviously, as a software company, we've also rolled out AI coding assistants to help all of our engineers. So we're able to do things like ask questions, maybe around our observability tools, so around like software metrics. We're able to ask questions in natural language now and get answers back. But I suppose the big one for us as a insurtech delivering software features is actually delivering those features in our software that are powered by AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, most people are going to recognize those initial use cases, because if you're not using them, probably worth start using them, because it makes your life so much easier.
Absolutely.
So that's
Yeah.
what I find. It just makes my life. It's like having a cool little assistant who can just go and do stuff really quickly.
Yeah,
And we were talking about it before, weren't we? About, so it's interesting. We talked about that migrating 600 databases.
Yeah.
Roll back time and doing that, how much different it would be now with
Absolutely.
AI.
Yeah, like that was a big success, but you would approach it in a completely different way now.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it would go faster, and you'd have, like you say, that extra help, that extra validation.
Yeah, instead of engineers potentially doing a lot of the stuff you've got, it's there to help those engineers to move faster, which is definitely a big bonus. And it's an interesting one, like, because we're a data show. Just before we do that as well, we've got Lydia as well, who's going to be our chat support today. So anything we can't answer, Lydia's going to jump on there and help out, and we'll just share some links as we go out the show today as well. Being a data show, key for us. So how do you actually find, preparing your data for AI and making it available for GenAI? How are you faring with those challenges?
Yeah, so I think that's one of the big challenges with AI. There's a probably more rude version of it, but if you've got poor inputs, you're going to get poor outputs. So things like data quality are absolutely essential, and just because everything's moving so fast and you can do more with AI, the data quality, if you've got issues there, that just comes to the surface even faster and creates more issues if it's a problem for you within your company. So I think like some of the traditional data engineering skills are a really good fit for working in AI. So in order to get data quality, you're likely going to have some sort of like data pipeline processing going on. So you're going to be doing ETL. You're going to be transforming like to different formats that are suited to AI, that suit AI better. So we were talking before the show about Kiro and spec-driven development. So we're seeing a lot of use of Markdown format now. So being able to transform like maybe a company SharePoint page into Markdown format in a pipeline in bulk, to be able to steer the AI in the right direction. So things like AWS Glue that you might be using for your ETL pipelines, got features in there that like profile the data quality rules that you can build in there. Services like Amazon Data Zone are really good because you can have like a central catalog of your data across your organization and enforce like metadata rules, and even use generative AI to actually profile your data and actually build out that metadata and those data catalogs faster. I suppose you're also going to be thinking about like retrieval augmented generation, so RAG and the knowledge bases. If you're a data engineer and you've got some data in an OLTP database like Postgres, for example, you might be taking a copy of that and you're going to be creating a pipeline to vectorize all of that data, maybe put it in a data store like OpenSearch, or Postgres can be used as a vector store too, and S3. Again, all of those traditional things about taking some data from a source, applying some sort of transformation to it, and then loading it into its target destination that we've been doing for years and years and years, that's largely still the same and is a great skill to have. So when I'm working with AI, I find that I'm going back to skills I learned when I was 16, which is a long time ago. And when I was like an Oracle developer at DBA, I'm using all of that stuff today on AI projects. Yeah, AI is, certainly the generative stuff has only really like sparked when ChatGPT kind of came out.
Yeah, it's true.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm certainly hopeful for the world of data engineering will continue.
yeah, you do need to have your data in a good position. I think exactly what you said: bad data, bad output, and that's what it's
Yeah.
going to be. And you will see that for sure.
Yeah.
So, how are you seeing with agentic agents? So we're hearing a lot about that and agentic AI features. How are you facing that at CDL? What are the challenges and problems you're facing with that?
Yeah, so effectively what we're doing at the moment is a project to make all of our APIs AI ready. And what I mean by that is we've got lots of great functionality that users interact with either programmatically if they're calling our APIs, if they're building out websites using our APIs, or it's our own software calling our APIs. Now, what we actually want, as well as all of those things, we want AI to be able to call our APIs. So we think about what's going to happen in the future and things like digital assistants, as we talked about already. So say you're a fan of Google and you're in the Google Gemini world, and you want to manage your insurance policy through that kind of digital assistant. So our APIs have got to be ready for those kind of new types of user experiences. I could probably show you some of the architecture, and then you could actually do probably a quick demo to show it actually working in practice. If that probably bring it to life a little bit better.
Yeah, we've got a few different demos.
Yeah.
While you're doing that as well, we can see that Darry's here saying the key is steering. You can't have newbie devs using these tools and expect maintainable output. Yeah, I treat that as my assistance and check closely the output. Totally agree with that. And it's a great assistant
project
as well.
on that at the moment on taking all of like our best practices and creating steering for the AI. Could probably show you a little snippet of that as well at some point if we get time. But yeah.
Let's get that.
So I'll talk briefly through the architecture diagram. So effectively, we're going to start controversially on the right of the diagram. So we've got existing CDL APIs. So this is functionality that exists, has been there for a while, and it behind of that is like the policy administration system. So when you buy a policy, there's a system that we sell to customers that helps maintain the policy. So if you change your car or you move address, that system gets updated right throughout the life cycle of the policy. So we've got APIs that talk to that. And we've got front ends that talk to those APIs today. But what we're trying to do now is obviously we want AI to interact with those APIs. So effectively what we've built is an AI front door where our customers can come in, they can do all of this kind of standard authentication, and then that intent from the user or the customer is routed to a supervisor agent, and all of this in the middle is in Amazon Bedrock. This is what we're using for our AI platform. And then the supervisor agent has one or more agents that basically it's helpers. So we do domain-driven design to work out the number of agents that we need to map onto the specific business domains. And then we have what's called our AI integration layer. You might have heard this referred to as also like an anti-corruption layer. And effectively that is a set of Lambda functions that then map onto those existing APIs. And we have that layer because our APIs, as they are now, are designed to be interacted with programmatically. They weren't designed to be interacted with AI. So we've built a specific layer to make that easier for our kind of customers. So basically, I could probably show you a quick demo of that in action. If I find the right screen.
We've got some Curio love from
yes,
yeah,
you'll see I'm in Kiro for a lot of these demos. So yeah, hopefully this is going to work.
We've also got
So,
someone saying cool gold jacket. Yeah, hard
thank
earned
you.
that, Matt.
Yeah, it was hard earned. Yeah.
Fair play.
So what I'm in here is if you were on the phone to manage your insurance with one of my customers, your
I'm
insurance
assuming
broker.
this is, just to explain this, this is your kind of your application, and this is
Yeah,
your client search, is it? By the looks of it, client search, yeah.
exactly that.
So
Yeah.
this is
So
you looking at kind of looking at yourself basically.
yeah, so this is the existing front end to our policy administration system. So if you
Yeah.
imagine I'm on the phone now to manage my insurance with a contact center,
Yeah.
the human agent that I'm speaking to on the phone is in this screen. That's what they work with.
Yeah.
So we can have a very quick look at my policy. Yeah, so this is made up data. It's one of our development systems. Sadly, I haven't got the Tesla there, but what we can see is that customer consent to auto renew is set to no here. So what that means is when my policy finishes at the end of the year, it won't automatically renew. And that's quite a common feature. You either have this on or off, but some people like it on so they're always with cover. So if I
You won't want to pay that premium, I know that.
That was, yeah. So that's obviously a made up price as well. But yeah, just to show you that it's made up data. Hopefully nobody's paying that.
No,
But certainly mine's a lot cheaper.
maybe if he was like 17 or something.
So what I'm going to show you now is rather than ring it up to set my policy to auto renew, if we had like a user facing portal that was available 24/7, you can log into that. Hopefully this works too. So yeah, we got a fake kind of insurance broker here called Awesome Insurance. You can probably work out what we've done there. And rather than interacting with lots of buttons, all I've got is a chat function here, and it's AI. So AI said hello to me. Got a question? Yes, I have. So can you set my policy?
So when it's pulled your policy back there, it's realised that just by you being logging in.
Yeah, so I'm already registered on the portal, so it knows what my policy is. It knows that I'm, in that case, driving a fake Tesla. It knows what policy number is. And I'll show you why it's doing that. We'll look at the Lambda function and the logs so you can see how this is working behind the scenes. So now it's AI is taking over. And hopefully, if this all works, it's going to set my policy to auto renew. And of course,
so
it
this
takes
in the
time because we're live.
It always seems to be a bit longer if you're doing it live. And also, yeah, there you go. It looks like it's done, which is great.
So we can very quickly, again, just go back in now, just to prove it's going to work. Hopefully it has.
Yeah, and that's using, did you say one of the agents you had before up to do that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we've got what's called a non-rating MTA agent. And what that means is, so yeah, it has worked because it's got it set to auto renew now.
Excellent.
So what we could do is actually show you the back end of all of that.
That'd be really nice to see.
Yeah. So let's have a look.
We've got another one. Kiro is my hero nowadays. Yep. And, sorry, you probably meant open search for real-time query on ML output. Yeah, it's really good for searching open search.
Just swap my screens around. So yeah, so I'm in a development account, and here's that agent that you've just seen us interact with via the front end. This is the definition for this agent. The interesting stuff here is you can see there's like version control around it, aliases, so stuff that you can swap these out. And you can try different versions of the agent. That's really cool if you're doing like A/B testing. But the interesting stuff is in here. So what you can see is which model the agent is using behind the scenes. And then what you have is an action group. And it's the action group that's, I think, is the most interesting thing. So what you do when you define an action group for the agent is you give it an open API spec. And you can see here there's different paths in this one. So it's a non-rating MTA agent. It helps customers make midterm adjustments or non-price rating changes to their policy. Here's the definition for what our APIs need in order to make that change. And what happens at runtime within Bedrock, this tool spec is what it's called, gets injected as part of their prompt as passed to the large language model. So the large language model knows that it's got a consent to auto renew tool at its disposal. It knows what the required schema is for that. So if I scroll down to schemas auto renew at the bottom, not quite at the bottom, a bit further up. There it is. So it knows that in order to call that API, it needs the web reference of the policy. So that's like a policy number. And it also needs to know in this case whether it's like a true or false. Do I want to auto renew or not? So with that information, it's injected at runtime.
Yeah. So for instance, if you logged in and you didn't have a policy, you wouldn't ever be able to run that, would you? Because it wouldn't even have a reference. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So what's happening there is the front end into the prompt is injecting that stuff it's got by me authenticating. So it knows it's me. It knows that I'm okay. I'm registered as a user. I've authenticated using username, password, and it's injected my policy number already. And it's also injected this tool spec. So the LLM now has the information that it needs to work out how to action the user's intent. So the next bit is once it realizes that it's got all of that information, it basically just calls a Lambda function, which we can look at here. So we are going to be, let's pick one of these. Yeah. So we can have a quick look at the code. So yeah, at the start, make this a bit bigger maybe. That's better. So the start of the Lambda function, effectively, I've got some Dynatrace stuff here for monitoring. We'll come on to that a bit later. But basically, out of the input payload into the Lambda that's basically sent by the large language model, it extracts the path. So in this case, it will have gone down this path, consent to auto renew. It's pulled the web reference out of that input, and also my consent to auto renew flag as true in this case. And it calls this function then, the auto renew function here, which as you can see is just a call to an existing API. For production, don't hard code your paths to your API. This is bad practice. This is just a demo. But all it does is call that existing CDL functionality. So if we have a look at the monitoring for it, you'll be able to see that, is that about the right time? Yeah, that's us, isn't it? 1518.
Yeah.
That's when we had our invocation. So that all looks good. And we can have a quick look at the CloudWatch logs as well. And you can see what that's been doing. Lots of errors. Interesting. So here's the start of, so here's the prompt. So you're an AI agent working in insurance contact center. The following information can be used. So there's my web reference that got passed in. It's got here the API path, consent to auto renew. I think these are, yeah, so there's more of the stuff. I think this is some Dynatrace errors. I'll have to look at that afterwards.
Are you using this in production now, Matt? Do you have this?
Yes, we've got, so this isn't production, but we've got the empty agency. They're ready to go, or they're in production like any day now. I think they might already be there. I've been on holiday, so they might already be there. There's the response back from our API, so a 201, and here's the actual response back. So when that API is successful, it basically returns a link where you can go to that specific policy event in the system to see that change. And then that's the end of the request. So you can see all of that happening there.
And I guess the aim of this is just to make users' lives a little bit easier, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we want to, we're thinking about basically that, users will want to ring a call center. They'll maybe have an online portal that they'll interact with, but increasingly, people will want to be able to interact with AI, whether that's to just go faster and maybe not wait on the line to get through to a call center at a busy time.
Yeah.
Maybe if the call center is shut, they can still take certain actions because we could have an AI contact center that's open 24/7. Basically, we want to give people all of these options.
Yeah, I know from buying insurance in the UK that it
Yeah,
used to be really painful doing it on
absolutely.
telephone calls. Then they moved to, like you say, more of a portal model where you could do
Yeah,
a limited set of actions inside of that portal, but
yeah,
then being able to evolve again onto being able to do it via just typing what you want to do. I think would be really cool.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then, like I said before, that's we're placing a bet really on where things might go, and that we've obviously seen like ChatGPT spark the imagination of so many people, and lots of people are using generative AI as end users every day now, and they can see some of the benefits that if it makes their lives easier, they may choose to interact with it through like a digital assistant, like you're saying. So we want to make sure that CDL is ready for all of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. It sounds sensible as well. So I guess just rolling back to some of the questions we were talking about before. So, hallucinations, we hear that one a lot, and something you probably don't want so much when you're going through your portal and you're potentially getting bad data back. How do you
Yeah.
mitigate some of the risks of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that we've spent quite a bit of time on. So what we've had to do is a lot of it does depend on your data quality. So you want to basically tightly scope that prompt to give the AI the best chance of answering the question in the correct way. Model choice has something to do with it. We could talk about and show some demos of evaluations, but also combining that with AI guardrails, so that where the LLM doesn't interact in the way you would intend, you can block that interaction then at prompt stage, so before it gets to the LLM, or after a response is returned from the LLM, there's another like safety gate almost to go through before that response goes back to the end user. So we're using specifically the guardrails feature in Amazon Bedrock. So you could probably again just show you some demos to
Let's take a look at it.
bring that to life. Yeah.
We've got Marcus. I think Matt is British. I would say that is.
I am British.
100%.
So my accent is northern. So I'm from Blackpool originally, and I've been adopted by Manchester. So I'm also half Glaswegian. So yeah,
Oh, you got let's a bit just of go with in you there,
let's go with British. It's easier.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get rid of Kiro for the time being and look at this one. Yeah.
So let's have a look at the different models first. You talked about hallucinations first. Let's have a look at that and the different models.
So in here, what I've got is one of my test accounts, and I've enabled quite a lot of different models. So one of the cool things I like about Bedrock is it's got quite a large choice of models. So I've enabled all of the Amazon ones, all of the Anthropic ones, all of the DeepSeek ones in there, Meta one, Mistral. There's hardly any here that are not enabled. So for me, I want to know what's going to be the best model for my particular use case. And how we're doing that is through evaluations. So this is a feature. If I can find it, it's here somewhere. There we go. Evaluations. And I've got some set up. So what we do, perhaps I could bring the architecture up. I've got, So what we do is we build a set of prompts, which are basically just another word for questions. And we have human experts basically write the answer to that question and include it in the prompt file. And then we upload that to Amazon Bedrock. And we do two types of evaluations. We do an automated LLM as a judge evaluation. So this is where the first LLM answers the question, And then a second LLM determines if it's got it right, and it assesses it against different factors like completeness of answer. Has it strayed from the ground truth data? So that hallucinations risk you talked about, Tony. Is it a complete answer? Because like in insurance, am I allowed to drive my car in France? It's never a yes or no. It's yes with these conditions, or no and these.
They might say you've only got 30 days, or some of them let
Exactly.
you do it. Yeah, it definitely is not. It's not a simple answer, is it?
Yeah. So in that use case, completeness of answer is really, really important, because the answer is yes, and technically saying a model just saying yes is technically that's correct.
Yeah.
But it's the conditions as an end user that you're really interested in there. So completeness of answer is really important. So we pick all these different metrics. We work with like legal team, compliance team, domain experts who deal with we're like highly regulated. We've got like financial conduct authority, so all of the guidance from them. We have those domain experts assess all of that, and we build out this test pack of questions. So we have like I said, the first one is the automated, where you have one LLM check another LLM, and then we back that up with human evaluations. So I can show you both of those. So this first one here is a automatic model as a judge, so LLM as a judge. So I've uploaded 25 insurance questions to this before the show, and I've said evaluate the answers that the LLM gives against my ground truth data, which are that curated expert answer from my colleagues, and evaluate it against these metrics, so helpfulness, correctness, faithfulness, etc., etc. And we've also got some responsible AI metrics, so stereotyping, harmfulness, refusal. So what we can see here is the scores really against each of these categories. So for the quality metrics, the higher the score, the better. And for the responsible AI metrics, the lower the score, the better. So I think this was DeepSeek. Just a quick check. Favorite source. Where's that gone? I think it was DeepSeek. I'll check in a second. So you can see here, overall, it's got about 83% on being helpful. And you can dig into each of the questions. So I said I've got 25 questions. You can dig into each one and see the score for each individual one and check maybe where the model's not going right, or maybe where you need to do some extra prompting. So all of that is in here. So like this one, you might want to check that one out, for example. So we basically do run that evaluation against all the different LLMs on like an ongoing basis. We call it like the battle of the LLMs. And then we have basically a chart, a table for our product managers to use and validate that against their risk appetite, and pick the right model for their particular use case based on those metrics.
Yeah, and it fits nicely for when new models come out as well, doesn't it? That
process. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
models are changing. There's new models coming on a very regular basis, so that process is useful for what you're doing. Yeah.
So like this one here, you can see this one is a human evaluation, and you can see this is in progress. So if I get one of my other screens open, we can, let's move this over to live. What Bedrock does behind the scenes is it uses some of the features of SageMaker and Mechanical Turk, to basically help you do evaluations. So whether it's like Mechanical Turk workers or like public workers, this is a private workforce that I've got to evaluate these models at CDL. So this will be like my colleagues who are the domain experts in the subject that we're asking the LLMs to answer questions on.
Yeah.
So what they get is they'll get an email with some instructions of how to access this portal. This is all created for us by SageMaker. Behind the scenes, it's Cognito user pool with those registered users. So they will have a list of jobs, so we can click the Start Working button. And what you can see here is a JSON representation of my made up policy from that policy administration system you saw in the earlier demo.
Yeah.
You can see the prompt going in, and at the end of this is a question that we're asking the LLM. So the policy is quite large, but the question here on this one was, when is my next payment due? So it's using that policy information to answer the question. So response 1 is one of the LLMs that we've got under test, and response 2 is a different LLM. And then this reference response is our ground truth data that our human experts have provided. So in the first demo there, you saw the LLMs doing this evaluation automatically. In this case, it's my team of experts at CDL validating this. So we can give these scores. Each model can have a different score.
It's interesting with the response as well, aren't they? Where you can see them, they are quite different as well.
They are different. Yeah, they're different.
You look at the two.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And on the left-hand side here, you see some instructions. So you can see this has obviously been customized. That's just a Markdown document. So you can, as long as you can write Markdown, you can write very specific instructions. You can do different rating factors. So you can do like a thumbs up, thumbs down, or you can do a Likert score that we've got here. So basically, once you have answered all of these questions, I'm just going to do this one very quickly. I'm not being accurate. I just want to get to the end. Submit that. And it will go on to the next question. And there's 25 of those. So we're not going to do all of these now. You'll be glad to know. So confirm that. What I can show you though is one we did earlier. So we go back to our portal. So many screens. So yeah, this one is completed at the top. So you'll see here, once that human workforce has answered all of those questions, you actually get the scores here in a similar way. So we tested Nova, Premier, and Llama 4 Scout here. So coherence, toxicity, accuracy, etc., etc.
You can only evaluate 2 at a time as well. Is it one
on Bedrock evaluations, it's 2. On regular Bedrock evaluations, it's 1 per automated evaluation. What I will do is, obviously, this is done. You can see all of this in the console. If you're doing this in production, you're going to want to put it into a CI/CD pipeline. So I've written a blog on how to do this programmatically. If you go to my website, matthorton.cloud, go to the blogs, you will see CI/CD for Bedrock evaluations and all the code of how to do that. It goes through setting up it in the console, takes you through that so you understand what it's doing. And then near the bottom, it's got the Python code to set that up.
We'll share that. If you could just pop that in the chat, the private chat,
of course,
and we'll share it out. I think will be good. I can add it on, and we can put it into our show notes as well. As at the end of the show, like I normally do, I'll put the show notes out, which you'll have catch up, as well as all of the useful links, which we've done. So if you just have a look at the LinkedIn post I'll do, you'll be able to see it from there. And then Lydia's also posted as well, which is good. So those kind of Bedrock evaluations, the thing I'd also say is that it's an ongoing process. So you don't just do it once, because as you know, there's a new model out every week, it seems, and there's tweaks to all of these models happening all of the time. So you kind of want to have that automated process where you constantly evaluate it. And then also, once you've got this into production, you're going to want to look at the logs and the output from the logs and do evaluations on that, and then tweak. Maybe you'll tweak your prompt, maybe you'll tweak some of the guardrails, maybe you'll do some pre or post-processing in Bedrock, which is basically just injecting extra prompts at different stages. There's loads of different layers that you can do all this stuff in. That makes sense. We got a question here from Bevin saying, what is the orchestration behind policy injection on CDL?
Yeah, so how that works in that demo that you saw there was I'm logging in to like an existing portal. I'm authenticating, I'm calling some existing APIs, and it's getting my policy information back as a JSON payload and injecting that into the prompt. Or sometimes it might pull that from a knowledge base. So there's kind of two ways that we can do that. But yeah, we're essentially building up the prompts in layers as we go through the process. So logging in, injecting the policy information, asking a question, injecting that tool spec, calling the Lambda functions, and then passing that all back through the chain.
Makes sense. And Data Whisperer, good to see you again. So join in a bit late, no worries yet. You can always catch us on demand. And let's say Lydia's posted the link as well if you've not already seen that in the chat. So let's have a look at guardrails next then.
Yeah. Okay. So got a couple here that we can do. So let's just have a look at creating one. So we can do this in the console. We can do it programmatically. So I know most people like to do this programmatically. So what I've got here is quite a simple one. I'm just going to change the name here because it'll probably error because it already exists when I've been testing it. So my requirement here is for like a chatbot. So I don't want my chatbot talking with my customers about things that we perceive as potentially high risk. So that's our requirement. So we don't want to talk about like credit history. We don't want to talk about things like crime. We don't want to talk about like past claims. So here you can see prevent our model from discussing perceived insurance high risks. So this is the creation of the guardrail. So all my code's in Python here. If you've got another SDK, there's APIs for all of this. You'll be able to do that. So there's given some examples, and I'm going to deny this. And there's some word config here. So credit history, debt, loan, crime, criminal record claims. Also, I don't want to have any profanity in my chat, so I've thrown that in as well. And then I've got a message. So what this is if the guardrail gets invoked in that conversation with AI, if it detects something it doesn't want to talk about, or it's the guardrail has told it not to talk about on the input prompt, it'll give this top message here. And if it gets through that input prompt, actually gets to the LLM, it will also check the response from the LLM on the way out to see if that contains any of that sort of information, and it give a slightly different output message. So that's a feature in Bedrock. You can have those messages the same, but you can have them different, so you can customize all of this as well. So what I'm going to do very quickly here, I'm going to save that, and I'm going to run that. Hopefully, what I should get here is a guardrail ID and a version. So there's my guardrail ID. So this guardrail is now in place, and I can use that in multiple different like AI architectures. So I might have like 2 AI agents. I can assign that guardrail to both of them.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do here is very basic example. I got a very basic encode question and answer. It's going to ask one question, which is the police have arrested me for smashing a window. Will this affect my car insurance? Spoiler alert, it definitely does. Yeah. And obviously we want the guardrail to block that. So what I've done is I've taken the output from that first script, the guardrail ID and version 1, and just set that in my config here. So I'm chatting with an AI model, and I'm passing in my inference profile, a guardrail that I've set up. So go back to my debug and just run that one. So what you can see here is guardrail intervened.
Yeah.
And your query may relate to high-risk policy details, so it's best handled by a specialized human agent. So the fact that it says your query, it's not got as far as the model. It's blocked that at the prompt. Yeah.
It's neat. And you actively, I'm assuming you're actively setting up guardrails.
We can show some other stuff. So yeah, let's have a look at, trying to think now. I can show you.
Just got a question here from, there we go. So, not sure if you already explained this. The evaluation is important. How often do we do it? Monthly, weekly? Any tips on what you do at CDL?
Yeah, so certainly whenever we get a new model that we're interested in trying it, we would run the evaluations then. We would also run it periodically. So our recommendation to squads is they don't run it on each like iteration of their pipelines, but certainly if they were doing a new release of the software, we would want them to run that evaluation as part of some stage in the release before it obviously goes to like being customer facing. And then other than that, it is ad hoc. So it could be in a development spike. Somebody wants to try a different prompt or a different model, then we'd say, "Oh, we'll run your evaluation as part of that spike."
Like that, yeah. And also, we've got another one here from Data Whisperer again. Can we track which user, for example, keeps trying to get the type of information out? So for monitoring evaluation, this type of behavior.
Yeah, I'll show you some. So yeah, let's answer that question very quickly. So in Bedrock, what you want to do is enable model invocation login. So in the console, you go to the bottom, you go to settings, you want to tick that box there. And I've got my model invocation logs going to S3. So anytime there's any inference in Bedrock on this account, that's going to get written out to S3, and I can query that. There's a great blog. It's not mine. It's one that somebody in AWS has written. This one, I will put that in our chat, Tony, as well, and we can share that out of everybody. Basically, I've done what is on this blog, set up Athena, and I can query all my inference logs using SQL. So that's a great blog post from somebody in AWS. Yeah, what we want to do though, in terms of the guardrails, obviously we've got like potentially got other content that's not text. So we can do like a multimodal one. So I've got edit this to see what it looks like. Not really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a multimodal model. So let's pick Anthropic. And rather than text, I'll upload some images this time.
Yeah.
So we've got data, multimodal. So here is one. Do quickly show this. No. So basically, I've got two images here. You probably see this one is just quite a happy man standing on a big log, and he's generally very happy. There's no extra text on there. So I'm going to run that through the guardrail, and as it's a happy picture, it's not going to get blocked. So as you can see, the action, no action taken from the guardrail, and you can view the trace here. So that's good. The second one is the same picture, but they've got some feedback. You won't be able to see that on this image because it's quite small.
Open that picture, maybe.
Yeah, we'll open that one. Yeah, let's go back to Kiro and have a look at it. So, Kiro, where's our pictures? Guardrails, evaluations. So no feedback. So there's the first picture. Like I say, nice sunshine. Everything's happy.
It's just got his code working. It's like, yeah, I'm the master of the universe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was me yesterday when this all worked.
We've all been there like that when you're really proud of yourself.
Yeah, this is the worst demo ever. I'm going to beat you up, which is very mean. My demos aren't that bad. Yeah. So obviously, what we want to do is block that. So I will upload that one. Yeah, this is the worst demo ever. And if we run this time, oh no, is that working? Oh, view files. That should have worked. Oh dear, what's gone on here? Let's start again. Let's start again. Guardrails.
Always of a live demo.
Anthropic. Sonnet. Hopefully I've ticked something wrong. Input. Yeah. Load. Feedback one. No action taken.
No
Oh
action
dear.
taken.
So this is working. What it should do is it should have detected violence in that image and blocked it. I'm not sure why that's not working.
And what is it? What's on the pre-configured Amazon Bedrock guardrails?
Let's have a go. Let's see if we
actually
can do another. Let's see if we can do one. So we'll create one, and we'll go through the process of creating one. So I'm going to block harmful categories. I want to enable all, and I want it to be on text and images. Enable all of these things.
Because I'm assuming it's probably going to come under maybe insult, and
it should get blocked under violence. I wonder if I've been a bit clever here. Did I change something? Because this is new. So these content tiers on, so this standard one is a new one. So let's go with the classic. I don't need to block anything there. Blocked violence. These are all the other options you have in guardrails. So there's a lot to play around with. So create the guardrail. Let's test that one again. Anthropic. It's multimodal, so that should work. This doesn't work. I don't know what's going on. Feedback. Yeah, it's worked. I must have set up the guardrail wrong.
It must have been set differently on their guardrails. It kind of shows, though, that your guardrail was not right, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the importance of human evaluation there, because I know it should have blocked that. So the fact that it's given me the wrong answer, that's why you need that human oversight. So yeah, that was the point of the demo, really. So yeah, you can see like we remember the picture. This is the worst demo ever. I'm going to beat you up. That's certainly violent. So it's got blocked, it's detected this, and it's also got like a confidence factor. So the fact that it's got beat me up in here, that's quite high strength, and it's really confident that there's some violence in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how that works. But obviously, that was done through the console. You could do all of that programmatically as well.
Yeah. So I don't know if we've got time to look at time now. What we got? So yeah, we might have enough time just to potentially look at how you're taking unstructured data and turn it into structured data with Bedrock automation.
Yeah, let's go back to this.
A few minutes to look at that.
Yeah, let's quickly do that. Yeah, so there is a feature in Bedrock called data automation. So hopefully I've got one here. Yeah, let's try this one that we created before, because we probably won't get time to do it.
Yeah.
Cancel that. Project details. Test. Okay. So what I've basically done here is set up a data automation project where I'm going to give it a document, and I've told it to like extract every aspect possible. So I've ticked all of the options in Bedrock here. So it's going to look for logos, it's going to look for like keywords, it's going to look for like table, like tabular data structures, etc., etc. So I'm going to upload a file here. So again, I've got one on my machine, data automation. So I've got a receipt here. Go back to Kiro quickly and show you that. So receipt from some shopping that I did a while ago. Here's what I bought, how I paid, how much it cost, shop, the address of the shop, etc. So some unstructured data there. Basically, I've got this. I need to make use of that data. So I've uploaded that now. Takes a few seconds to run, but what it's doing is it's running various AI models against that image and trying to get the results out. So again, what you would hope it would do is turn this paper receipt that I've taken a picture of into something that's actually useful. So you can do this in the console like we're doing here, so it's all visual, but again, do this programmatically in your data pipelines.
Yeah, so you're just grabbing the information out.
Yeah. So you can see here's all the options I told it to look at. So I want to look at document level, I want to look at page level, element level, word level. I want to get CSV if there's any tabular data in there, text with HTML, Markdown, plain text. So I'm being very greedy. I'm choosing all of the things here. So this is what it's done.
It looks like a good shop as well, that, Matt.
It was a good shop. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I had for that. That was a date night. It is a proper date night, despite what my wife may tell me. Fruit gums. If you're British, the fruit gums are Colin Caterpillars, which is her favorite. Nice. That's why it was a good date night. But anyway, the AI has summarized it correctly. It is a receipt about a retail transaction. It's picked out the shop. It's picked out how much I've spent. It's picked out that I bought a fruit bag. That's interesting. That's wrong. It was a paper bag. So this is a non-deterministic AI in action here. So when I've run this previously, it's got that correct. It's got carrots correct anyway. What's really cool though about this is element level, I think, is being here. So what we can see is that's clearly a data table in the middle. So item numbers, the description, and how much I've paid for each item. I want to be able to process that programmatically. Perhaps this is an expense receipt for HR or something like that. So I'm going to scan this in, and I want AI to pick out all the items. I want it to capture the VAT, and I want it to submit my expense claim rather than me filling in a form. So you could do that with this. So if we find the, here you go. So it's detected that that's a table. So if you click on this, you get the little bounding box around it. And it's put it into plain text. It's also done it as CSV for me, and it's done it as Markdown. So now programmatically, I can go to that CSV element in that payload and then pass that into my data pipeline further. And so you can use pandas then to process that because it's CSV. So yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, nice little demo. I think we're pretty much. Oh, sorry, I hit you off stage there, Matt. That was me hitting the wrong buttons, so not good. Bad host. So thanks for that, Matt. That was really good. Some really
no worries.
Good there, and it's always good to see actual use cases by you as customers as well. And as always, great sharing and sharing back to the community. Spot on, Matt. So we're away for a couple of weeks now. We've got a UK bank holiday, and then we've got a US bank holiday. So we're not back now until the 8th of September, of which we'll be doing database migration, so revolutionizing database migrations using GenAI. So as normal, it's 5 p.m. CET, 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're on Twitch, AWS, and we're also on YouTube, AWS events. And you can catch us as well on our email address. If you ever want to talk to us or share anything with us, or say, oh, you thought about doing this show, do email us. We've got our email address there. I'll just put it up on screen. There's our email address. If Lydia can also post it in the chat. We've also got our community page as well. If you go to that page, you may see a slight problem at the moment because we're switching over to community pages to builder pages. So we're just doing some work on our main page, but that will be updated soon. And like I say, we'll have our show notes for this as well. So thanks for everyone who joined, and it was great having some questions there. So cheers everyone, and see you again in a couple of weeks.